Neither of them is in control of this situation. These tariffs, this absurd game, it's worth a couple of minutes before I do the questions. A tariff. You all know what a tariff is, just another name for a tax. It's the name you give a tax when it's a tax on a particular thing, namely an object produced in another country that crosses your border and comes into your country, and you hit it with a tax as it crosses the border. It's like being hit with a fine when you drive from Massachusetts to Connecticut. I mean, we don't have that, but you suppose someone was there and you had to pay $5 to enter. That's all this is. It's a tax. You can't bring that car or that bottle of wine or whatever it is that's coming in from out of the country into America without paying this tax, which is called a tariff. All countries manipulate their foreign trade. This is a process as old as capitalism, if not older. Capitalists who have problems go to their government and say, help us. And one of the ways a government helps a company, by the way, why does a politician do that? So he gets money. It can be a bribe. It can be a donation to his favorite charity. It can be a contribution to his political campaign. It can be, who knows, as many as you can imagine. So the politician wants to get the support. So he does something. What is it the business, it's usually businesses, what do they want? They want help. One of the classic things they want is, suppose foreigners have figured out how to produce what an American company produces, but they either do it at a lower price or they do it at better quality. Let me pick a random example. Automobiles. For a long time, Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler were good at what they did. Then German and Japanese and other countries began to figure out they could do this better and cheaper. And they proceeded to do it better and cheaper. And Americans, not so surprisingly, said, ooh, I'd rather spend less for something better. Bye-bye Chevy, bye-bye Ford, etc., etc. Ford and Chevy went to the government and said, help us. Now, of course, they can't say when they go, please help us because we're so inefficient we can't produce a car to save our lives. This doesn't sound right. So instead, the argument is, they're cheating. Huh? Yes, they're cheating. They did something, can you believe it, wrong. Something we would never do. Because we don't play by these nasty rules. So we deserve help to offset their cheating. One help you get is a tariff. So let's suppose the Toyota comes in $1,000 less than the equivalent Ford. You slap a tariff of $2,000 a car. Now the Toyota costs $2,000 more than it did. The Ford is now cheaper rather than more expensive. And we all drop the Toyotas and buy the Ford, assuming we don't care about the quality of the car. Has the United States done that? Yes. Always. Now? Oh, yeah, now. Because that's included in always. Every country does this sort of. Let me give you the example, the best example I think of all the time these days. Light trucks. You know, Americans are in love with those little pickup trucks. Large numbers of particularly male persons seem to get testosterone boosts by being in a little truck rather than in a simple car. It does wonders for them. I don't want to take away anything. Obviously, I'm doing that. So foreigners, it turns out, can make better trucks than we can and cheaper, just like they can make better cars and cheaper than we do. So back in 1962, we put a tariff on light trucks, 25%. It's been in effect since then. Is it in effect now? Mm-hmm. Tariffs. Suddenly, Mr. Trump discovers tariffs. They're cheating. Who's cheating? Everybody cheats. And it isn't just tariffs. There are other ways. When the Japanese cars first came in a big way in the 1960s and 70s, the United States went to Japan and threatened them and said, you can't send more than a certain number. That's called a quota system. You can send up to 200,000 cars, but not one beyond that. We don't care what the price is. So you have a cheap, good car, fine. You can. Those were the days where if you wanted to buy a Honda, you went to a Honda dealer, you gave them your name, and you were put on a waiting list, and if you were lucky, by next Christmas, they'd call you up. Because you couldn't get them. Everyone knew they were better, but they had a quota. So the United States is not some naive, you didn't make a good deal. Mr. Trump is going to do a good deal maker. Oh, stop. If you believe that, then you believe that if you buy that certain kind of soap and use it, your sex life will be transformed. Right? You know that when they tell you that, they just want you to buy this soap. The rest of it is bullshit. That's what this is. This is political theater. All the rest of it is nonsense. And the